Hi guys, I'm Crystal Mayo, standing here with master photographer Darrell Chitty. Say hi, Darrell.
Hi there.
So we're here to talk a little bit about his portraits. Tell me a little bit about this one.
Well, this is a portrait session that I actually did with my college class.
So you are
a
professor?
Professor at fine art photography at one of the local colleges. And I thought it'd be a great experience for my students to see what is involved in a real live session. So,
fantastic. And how long have you been doing photography?
I've been doing photography 33 years.
And how long have you been professing?
For 6 years.
6 years,
Yes.
nice.
Yeah.
So at what point did you go from photography to to paintings?
Paintings. Well, I went to paintings about the time that I found that the industry was changing so quickly with digital photography. I found that there was a decline in volume in my traditional photography, and I had to find a new way of creating new business.
And how has this been working out for you?
Well, it's worked out very well. Now nobody knows me as a photographer any longer. You know, I'm now the artist that paints with oil instead of a photographer. So
you get more business with your paintings than you do with your portraits?
I get about 95% of all my business is paintings now.
That's great. You mind if we take a
Sure.
look?
Yeah, we can do that.
Lead the way. So Darrell, this is your viewing room. It is completely obvious how talented you are, from your photographs to your paintings. Tell me, where do you get your inspiration? What is your goal?
Well, my goal is to survive in this industry. You know, that's my primary goal, but it's supplemented with my goal to be more than just a traditional photographer. I wanted to move more and more toward the art. And not just the traditional look that everybody else is giving. I found out in our industry that we were struggling so much to survive. That's the way it is in the photographic industry.
With your traditional photography? With
traditional photography. Not only I, but others as well. So what I wanted to do was to do something that nobody else could duplicate, or very, very few people could duplicate. And so what I did is I started studying art just constantly. I studied the old masters. I wanted to know more about who they were and what they were all about. So and then
because they call you the new old master, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, that was somebody said that in a publication that they wrote a story on me in one of the magazines. And that's kind of stuck. That's kind of what we use now as my introduction to any articles or anything that I'm featured in.
So, how many people would you say can actually transition as easily and do what you do?
Well, I think anybody can. It's not an easy transition. I've invested many hours developing the style I have. I don't think I have any special talents, but just hard work is what I've dedicated my life to do at this point. I feel like this is my calling now in my career. And I love certain old masters that I've studied over the years, you know, like Rembrandt, and like Turner, Englishman, and Monet and Renoir, and go all the way through. And
Those are some great ones.
Some wonderful ones, yes. And they all have a unique look. And I have found that if I study these old masters enough, that when I look at another image, say if I was photographing you, I would look at you in a way as maybe Renoir might paint you. And I'm inspired with the way he did it. And then, of course, my subject inspires me too. And so combining the master's techniques with what I've learned as a portrait photographer, I've been able to interpret, I think, my subjects in a way that very few people can do.
Fantastic. All right, so Darrell, you have a new exhibit coming up called The Goodness of Man.
That's right.
And this is going to be one of the pieces. This
is one of them. It's going to be a very unusual exhibit. I've never done this type of theme before. But I love the era of the elderly, you know, the great generation. I think
like the baby boomers?
Yeah. Well, no, that's not the great generation. Their parents is the great generation.
There you go.
But I'm going to do an exhibit that's going to feature them For example, this gentleman right here. This
is a lovely picture, by the way.
It's, you know, it speaks so much. It tells me so much about this wonderful man. CPA, a very, very successful businessman in the community. But what it also tells you is that he's a very patriotic person. And for this exhibit, I'm wanting, it's called The Goodness of Man because there's such goodness that's in the lives and stories of these people. And I want to share that with people. And so this exhibit I'm going to be doing is going to be featuring people of this generation. And this man is a very interesting man. He was in the Bataan Death March. And if you know anything about that death march, around 5,000 Marines were killed in that death march. They didn't make it all the way through it. And, but he's one of the survivors. And he was exiled, or at least he was in prison camp in Nagasaki, Japan. If you know what Nagasaki is, that's where one of the atom bombs dropped.
Right.
And he got to see that bomb drop literally just a few miles from him. Luckily, the wind was blowing the other direction, so he didn't get that. But the man had such an interesting history, and to his dying day, he wanted to share, you know, what his country meant to him. And so this is a tribute to him and his loyalty. So this is what I'm trying to accomplish with my exhibits. I found that through exhibits, I can best share my work with people, and I enjoy inviting people to be a part of exhibit, and I think they enjoy being a part of an exhibit because they're being featured. I'll be doing another exhibit called the Boots and Saddles, and this will be featuring horses and horse lovers. And behind you here is an example of that. That's going to be in that exhibit.
And when did you do this one?
I did this one about 3 months ago.
It's nice, very beautiful.
And just you know, a lovely young lady at the stables where she keeps her horses. And so I have these 2 exhibits going here very soon, and so this is how I build my business now. Instead of the traditional way that people just walk into a studio and hope, you know, and ask me to do their picture. So it's a different style of marketing. My background is in business and marketing, and so...
You have a master's in business, correct?
I have an MBA, yes. And so I have that background that I like to, you know, pull out. I enjoy marketing. And when you blend the 2 together, it's a great combination.
Perfect storm.
Yeah, it is.
So Darrell, we've talked about your lovely photography, your lovely portraits, but I see another element in the room.
That is the things that I just enjoy doing on my own, with no subject, with no customer in mind, no client that I'm doing it for. Just, I travel a lot all over the world, and I'm inspired by wherever I go. And quite frankly, I'm more inspired about Louisiana. I love Louisiana as much as any place else.
Hence the painting right beside you there.
Let me just get this. This is one that I just completed of just a beautiful scene, just a typical South Louisiana scene in the marsh.
Pretty much.
And, but it's such an incredible setting, it's just, you have a hard time doing it justice. But I enjoy doing things like this. Also, of course, in my travels, I may do, when I was in Italy, beautiful Tuscany area, just poppy fields all over the place in Tuscany. And whenever I just stopped on the side of the road and just did a whole series of photographs, and this was something that came from that.
Wow, very impressive.
It's fun, and but when it's interesting that when I look at a setting, I start immediately thinking about the painter that would have painted that. And I start seeing maybe in the sky the atmospheric conditions of a Turner. And then when you get into the details of the poppies, then I'm thinking about Renoir, or I'm thinking about the Impressionists, you know, Monet and Renoir. And so it's interesting how I might incorporate 2 or 3 masters into one painting instead of just going with one particular technique. Every image I've found has its own life. And it's very much like somebody asked Michelangelo, how in the world did you create the beautiful Pieta, the marble? And he said, all I did was just look at the rock, and I saw the angel inside the rock, and I just let it out. such a beautiful thing. And I find that's the same way that I see when I see some of these settings, that I see the artist and I see that inspiration, and it's just a matter of letting it out. That's the thing I enjoy so much. It's where I've gone in my career, from traditional photography to portrait painting, which I still enjoy a great deal. And now, you know, I'm beginning to expand into different kind of subject matter and things that are really outside my comfort zone.
So nothing is off the table for you. You are willing to try anything.
Everything. And I have yet to discover really who I am yet. I think in the field of photography and for painting, because I think I'm just beginning to learn how to do what I do. It's so much fun growing and exploring and experimenting, and hope I never stop.
Isn't there a saying, once you stop growing, you die?
I think that's true. I think that's very true. And that's one reason why so many of the great masters lived for those old years. You know, Monet was 90, he's 87 when he died, and Renoir was 84 when he died, and then so many of them just lived, you know, close to in their 90s. So I intend to be around a long time.
Well, let's hope so. Well, guys, don't miss out. Come, what month?
November.
November. Boots and Saddles and the Goodness of Man. Check out his exhibits. Darrell, it was a pleasure spending the day with you and seeing all your wonderful art. And I look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Well, thank you so much.
Have a great one.
Bye-bye.